Welcome to Faith Light Stories, where every story is born from real lives and renewed faith. These are moments of loss, grace, and the quiet miracles that appear when the soul finally looks toward the light. What you are about to hear is not just a story, it is a reminder that love never dies. It only changes form. This is Faith Light Stories, real faith, real hope. Before we begin, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. You're about to hear a story that could renew your faith today. It was a cold morning in early November, the kind where the city seemed to hold its breath. The sky hung low and colorless, heavy with mist. Ellen stood at the bus stop gripping her frayed coat, her fingers numb, her breath visible in the air. The streetlights flickered weakly above, their orange glow fading into the gray dawn. She turned the coins in her palm, counting slowly, lips moving without sound. $1.75. She knew the fare was $2.50. She had known it since last week, but hope can make a person count again anyway. As if faith alone could multiply coins, the way it once multiplied loaves and fish. Her stomach ached from hunger. She hadn't eaten since the night before, just half a slice of bread she'd saved. She told herself it was fine. Dinner would come later if she could just make it across town to the community center, where they sometimes offered small cleaning jobs. The worn solace of her shoes let the cold in, and she shifted from one foot to another to keep feeling in her toes. The wind scraped against her cheeks, and her eyes watered. She whispered into the still air, "Please God, just help me get through this day. I'm so tired." The bus appeared at the far end of the street, its engine growling as it drew near. The sound should have brought relief, but instead, it filled her with dread. The doors opened with a hiss, and warm air rushed out carrying the smell of diesel and old rubber. The driver, a man in his 50s with weary eyes, looked at her kindly but directly. $2.50, he said. Ellen's throat tightened. She opened her hand and let him see the coins. "I only have $1.75, she said, barely audible. Behind her, a businessman checked his watch. A woman sighed impatiently. Ellen stepped aside, mumbling, "I'll wait for the next one." Her voice trembled. The driver hesitated, perhaps wanting to help, but rules were rules. Ellen turned away, humiliated, trying to hide her tears from the strangers behind her. Then came a voice low, warm, gentle, carrying the calm of someone who knew what kindness meant. "It's okay. I've got it." She turned sharply. A man in a faded blue jacket stood behind her. His hair was streaked with gray, his face lined yet peaceful. There was something steady about him, as if the cold didn't reach him. He handed the driver a $5 bill. "Pay for her fare too," he said. Ellen's lips parted. "Sir, you don't have to." "I know," he said simply. "But I want to." The driver printed the ticket, handed her the change, and nodded toward the seats. Ellen walked slowly up the aisle, clutching the ticket like it was something holy. She sat by the window, her hands trembling. The man sat a few rows behind her. The city rolled by wet streets, shuttered shops, tired faces. Ellen stared out, her reflection ghostly in the fogged glass. She hadn't been shown such mercy in years. Not since before her mother died. Not since before she'd stopped praying because the silence after Amen felt like a wall too high to climb. But now, a stranger had done in 10 seconds what 1,000 sermons couldn't. He'd made her feel seen. She whispered, "Thank you," though she wasn't sure who she was thanking. Her eyes burned. She risked a glance back and saw the man reading a small, worn book, the Bible, she thought. His lips moved slightly, maybe in prayer. Something in that quiet steadiness made her want to weep. At the next stop, a few passengers got off. The man stood, tucking the book into his jacket. He walked past her, paused, and said softly, "Ma'am, God hasn't forgotten you." Ellen's breath caught. "What did you say?" He smiled faintly, like someone who already knew the question before it was spoken. You're seen. You're loved. Don't give up." And with that, he stepped off into the drizzle. She twisted in her seat to watch him through the window, but he was already gone, swallowed by the mist. His words echoed in her ears, louder than the engine. "God hasn't forgotten you." They were the same words she had cried into her pillow the night before, when she had whispered into the dark, "God, have you forgotten me?" She pressed her hand to her chest, feeling her heart pound beneath her thin coat. For the first time in years, she prayed, not because she wanted something, but because she needed to say it out loud. "If you're still there," she whispered, "thank you for sending someone." The bus rattled forward, and through the cloudy window, the morning light broke gently through the rain. It fell across her lap, golden and soft, like a quiet blessing. She closed her eyes, and for the first time in a long while, she felt warmth that didn't come from the sun. The next day, Ellen went to the community center, and they gave her a small job mopping floors in the evenings. It wasn't much, but it was something. She worked quietly, saving what she could. Every morning she took the same bus, hoping to see the man again. He never appeared. After a week, she asked the driver about him. "The man who paid for me," she said. "Do you remember him?" The driver frowned. "No one paid that day. You tapped a prepaid card." Ellen blinked. "That's impossible." The driver shrugged. "Maybe you dreamed it." Ellen said nothing, but as she sat by the window that morning, the same seat where she had first met him, she smiled faintly. Dream or not, her faith had woken up. Maybe that was the miracle. Months passed. One Sunday morning, while walking home from the market, Ellen stopped in front of a small church she hadn't entered in over a decade. She hadn't planned to go in, but she heard music drifting through the door, a soft piano and a voice singing, "Amazing Grace." She stood on the steps for a long time, trembling, then pushed the door open. The light from stained glass fell across the floor in gentle colors. She sat quietly in the back pew, her hands clasped. The pastor's sermon that day was about how God meets people where they are, in hospitals, in prisons, even on buses. Ellen's tears flowed freely. Every word felt like it was written just for her. After the service, an elderly woman approached. "You're new here," she said kindly. Ellen nodded. "It's been a while." The woman squeezed her hand. "Then welcome home." 2 words, simple and powerful. For the first time in years, Ellen smiled without forcing it. Over the months that followed, Ellen began returning every Sunday. She found work at a small clinic, cleaning after hours. She started cooking again, humming while she worked. She prayed before bed, not with desperation, but with gratitude. She even made friends among the congregation, ordinary people who, like her, were learning to believe again. Sometimes she still rode that same bus. And when she saw someone at the curb counting coins with trembling hands, she would step forward, pay their fare, and say quietly, "You're seen. God hasn't forgotten you." It became her small way of repaying the miracle that once found her on a cold November morning. Years later, Ellen sat in the church lighting a candle. Her hair was silver now, her hands slower, but her eyes glowed with peace. She thought of that man, the stranger in the blue jacket. Maybe he was an angel, maybe a man sent on a mission. It didn't matter anymore, because what he gave her that day wasn't just a ride, it was her faith back. She whispered, "Thank you for sending him. Thank you for finding me." The candle flame flickered, steady and bright, and in that quiet moment, she knew beyond any doubt she was not forgotten. That's how grace works. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come wrapped in thunder or miracles. It arrives quietly through kindness, through strangers, through the smallest acts that carry eternal meaning. Heaven often wears an ordinary face. Thank you for watching Faith Light Stories. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe, so that someone who feels forgotten might find light again, just like Ellen did.